Welcome, y'all. It's Wes with DIY Food Plot Pro. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's episode, we're going to talk about how to properly clean out a chemical sprayer that we've used on our food plots. This is something that I've talked to a lot of folks about when I'm doing the consulting. How do we clean these out in a way that we're not scared to spray another crop with a different herbicide and not kill that plot? One reason that your pumps and stuff are not lasting as long is because when chemicals sit inside these, they start to destroy that pump. So if we keep these clean throughout the year, we use it, we drain it, we clean it, and we do the entire process, these pumps will last much longer. This was a cheap Tractor Supply 15-gallon sprayer with a pump, and it lasted 5 years on the food plot acreages that I plant, which, if y'all know, that's a ridiculous amount of food plot acres that this thing has been over. And so for it to last 5 years, I feel like that's very, very good. And the reason for that is because we keep this sprayer cleaned out the proper way, and we don't let those chemicals sit in that pump. That's going to destroy the pump, the hoses, very, very quickly if you let those chemicals sit inside there. My name is Wes. I run the channel DIY Food Plot Pro. I've got a Bachelor of Science in Agronomy. I farm for a living. We've got an 1,800-acre whitetail deer hunting outfitter in Western Kentucky where we cannot bait. So we rely heavily on these food plots that I produce on the channel to hold and harvest the mature bucks that we're blessed to hunt here in Western Kentucky. So the very first thing that we're looking at when we're talking about cleaning this out is we don't want to be dumping chemical, right? So we just got through spraying pre-emerge on our corn and our soybean acreages, and I wrote down in here just the other day when I got done with this, I didn't have time to clean it that day, but I'm going to clean it today, Roundup and dual magnum. So I think that's very important to write on your tank what's in here so that you know the next time that you go to use it what was in that tank the last time. Now, if you clean it every single time, as you should, you wouldn't have to do that. We all get busy, and when I got back from spraying that night, it was nearly dark, and I was not going to clean the tank that night. So a couple of days later, here I am. I'm going to show you guys how I clean this tank and keep this pump running longer by doing this. So the very first thing is we want to make sure that this chemical tank is free of all those chemicals. What we do is we're out there in the field and say we're putting 15 gallons of water per acre. So this is a 15-gallon tank, so it sprays 1 acre. We don't want to have this tank halfway full when we're done and then just dump it, right? That's not good for anything, us included. So we don't want to do that. What we want to do is if we were spraying at 5 miles an hour and we were putting 15 gallons per acre, we'll up the speed and we'll double or triple that rate, right? So we're going back over that food plot at a much less rate that time because we're going faster. I hope that makes sense. Or you can do what I'm gonna do today. This is Roundup and dual magnum. I'm gonna use this to spray around the place to clean some of the weeds and grasses up that are here that I want to be killed. So we all have a lot of those around the farm. So I'm going to use this today to go spray those areas and to get this tank empty. But that's step one, is to empty the tank of the chemicals, and don't do it by dumping it on the ground. Either go out there and double or triple your speed to get this out of the tank, spray faster so that you are putting less rate on that crop, or what I'm doing today and go around and spray around the farm. So I'm gonna go empty this and then I will come back and I'll show you the remaining process. So we got it all sprayed out. The tank is free of chemicals at this point right now. So now we're gonna start the cleaning process on this tank. You'll notice that I've got gloves on. I always wear gloves when I'm messing around with chemicals, always. Something that I strongly believe in. I always try to keep clean hands, but I always use my gloves, PPE, when I'm messing around with chemicals. Okay, so we got the tank filling with water right now, just clean water right out of the well, and we've got our ammonia here. I buy a ton of this stuff at the Dollar General, and this is what I've always cleaned my tanks out with. Whether it's the farm, whether it's these tanks, I always use this ammonia. Don't be mixing a bunch of different cleaners in this. I'm not going to get into that, but do not be mixing a bunch of different cleaners. Use one cleaner, whether it's tank cleaner, whether it's ammonia, clean the tank out, but do not mix a bunch of these tank cleaners together to clean the tank out. I cannot emphasize that enough. That will kill you. There are cleaners that you mix together that make terrible, terrible fumes that will kill you. So ammonia or tank cleaner, that's it. When it's got about half full of water, I'm gonna dump what's left of this. I've already used this one time. is about half of 1/2 gallon jug. Always mix that a little bit stout with ammonia. I'd rather it be too strong than not enough. That's your cleaning agent in there. Generally mix that a little bit stout. These are 1/2 gallon jugs. I try to use roughly half of one of these every time I'm cleaning one of my tanks out. If I'm going on a bigger tank with, like, say, 100 gallon, I'll put a full gallon in with that 100 gallon tank. So now I've got my tank completely full. All I'm gonna do is spray this out. This is only water and ammonia at this point. It's a good idea to turn your booms on and get this ammonia inside your boom and let this sit for a little while before you spray it out. So start the spraying out process, maybe get halfway done, turn the boom off, go eat lunch, come back, flip it on, and let it finish spraying out. It kind of lets that ammonia get in there and clean those chemicals that may be trapped inside that boom. Okay, so we just sprayed our tank out of water and ammonia. The very last step in the process is filling this entire thing back up with water again and spraying it out. One very important note to mention, to really clean a sprayer really good, what you need to do see all that stuff on the filter? Some of that's residual chemical. Most of it's not, but some of it is. You see in there that I've got some trash down in there. The best thing to do is to take all these off after you get through spraying your first water and ammonia and clean every one of these tips and filters that are in there. Any of the herbicides that you use that are 1 ounce an acre or 2 ounce an acre are extremely potent herbicides, right? Because Roundup's something we use 32 ounces an acre. People think, well, that's really potent. It's not, because you're using 32 ounces an acre. Stuff that you use 1 or 1.5 ounces an acre is much more likely to kill something because it doesn't take very much of it stuck in these filters to go ahead and kill that plot or next place that you're spraying. So make sure you take all these off and clean these filters, clean those tips really good. Just rinse them with water, rinse them out, spray them out really good. I've got 2 different types of tips on this, and I'm gonna explain why real quick. So these type are non-pressure tips, right? These tips spray all the time until there's no PSI left. My 2 outside ones they've got basically a little check valve in there to where when the pressure gets too low, they shut off. The problem with if you run an entire boom on those, you don't have any way of getting the air out when you run this out and it starts pumping air. When it comes to prime back up, if you don't have any open tips like these, it likes to vapor lock on you. So next year, before I get ready, I'm gonna put 4 of the check valves, and then I'll have another little air valve that I can open on the outside to let that air out, because I really like the check valves much better because they shut off. I think it's below 15 PSI, they just shut off. So it saves a lot on chemical, but if you just have all these and you don't have a way to get that air out, you will get vapor lock when you drain that tank and it starts pumping air. It's hard to get prime back up again. So very last step in the process, fill it with water, spray it completely out, clean the filters, clean the tips, and you are done. You have a clean tank you can feel pretty confident in. I hope this video was helpful to you. If it has been, smash that like and subscribe button.